In this lecture, I'm going to teach you two fantastic hotkeys that you can use to make UV mapping so much easier. The first one is going to allow us to scale our islands so that they can all fit evenly within the UV map. So what will happen is you'll select all of your islands and then you'll use the hotkey Control A or Command A on a Mac, and what Blender will do is it will average out the scales of each of your islands so that you get an even size between them so that they can all fit in. Once you've scaled it, you're going to be able to rearrange your islands to fit into your UV map without any overlapping. This step requires scaling first just as a precaution to avoid the overlap. The hotkey for this is Control or Command P. So let's have a look at this in Blender. So at the moment I've got two objects. I've got a cylinder and a cube, and we can see that it's all fitting in not too bad at the moment in our UV map, but obviously we can see that there's quite a bit of overlapping going on. We can't tell, but if I move this over, parts of the cylinder are overlapping with parts of the cube. And if we don't want that, well, we can manually drag things out, drag things across, scale in and out. You know, we can do all these things, but we can go the quick route. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press A a couple of times to make sure everything is selected. Now we're going to make sure that everything is scaled correctly by pressing Control and A. And you may have noticed on your screen, I'm not sure if the resolution was high enough, but all of my islands have been slightly resized so that they are suitable to be placed inside of my UV map. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to resize it again and refit it into my UV map by pressing Control and P, and watch what happens. So now they've been scaled down again, however they've all been scaled down by an equal amount, and now we can see that we've been able to fit all of our islands within our UV map without any overlapping whatsoever. This is a fantastic tool, and if you're wondering why it hasn't filled up the entire UV map, well, the reason why is because when we scaled all of our islands, we scaled them so that they would be scaled to the same size as each other, just as you would scale an entire object in object mode. All of the faces here have been scaled to the same proportional size, which is why it doesn't completely cover our UV map. If Blender did increase the size of one slightly, then every other face would also increase in size, and as a result we would go over the UV map. So that's why what you see now is what Blender has done. But we can do this with as many faces as we can create. So let's create one more object. Let's create a cone. And let's also unwrap this. So we're going to do Smart UV Project. OK. So we can see that's projected, and that's projected very nicely actually for the cone. But we're going to select everything here. And once again we can see that because we've added a new object, we've now got overlapping again. So we're going to need to sort this out again. So make sure everything is selected, Control and A to resize everything, Control and P to fit everything in our UV map. And notice we can still click on an island and move it about wherever we want. So there you go guys, now you know how to resize and refit your islands in your UV maps.